Exercise A05 is going to keep adding features to our little game. The first feature we're going to target is keeping a score for that little guess the number game. So this exercise instructs us to use a new variable, a counter variable named NB trials, number of trials, okay, to keep track of how many iterations we went through. That is, how many guesses have been provided by player 2 in trying to discover the secret number. So this is going to help us measure a score of some sort, indicating that that particular player took 10 attempts to discover the secret number, while that other player took only 5 attempts. So let's go back to our code. And let's try to figure out what we need to do to add this feature. One little remark real quick. If I had given you directly an exercise consisting in having the game implemented with this feature to start off with, it would have been wise to decide first to implement the basic game and then to identify which requested feature can be then added later on. Okay, it's a lot more difficult to design this game from the get-go without by trying to embed everything in it, a score, a maximum number of trials, etc., than to go step by step. So those exercises are hopefully teaching you that when you have a big problem to attack, you need to identify what are the core features you need to implement to get something functional. And then once you reach this step, test your program, and then one after the other, start adding new feature. One feature at a time, and testing your program to make sure it still works every time you just added a feature. Okay, so this is a good practice. Let's put it that way when you are programming large and complex application. So what we have here is our little basic game, and we need now to keep track of how many times we go through that loop. Well, if we were using a counter-based loop, we can go back to the lecture and find out in the slides, patterns to use to count how many times we are looping. Here, we are not really using a counter-based loop, we are using a sentinel-based loop, but we want, at the same time, to have this feature, this variable that's going to count how many times we iterate. So we are going to handle this problem in a similar way. We are going to start by using an assignment to initialize, before the loop, a counter variable. Okay, this counter variable is named NB trials, as indicated in the exercise. Should I initialize to 1? Should I initialize to 0? Well, let me apply this logic. NB trial is initialized to 0 to start off with. Why? Because right here, I didn't try anything yet. Now, as soon as a guess is entered, I'm going to use an assignment statement here to increment this variable. After all, a new guess has been entered. It's time for me to count it. NB trials equal NB trials plus 1. And there we go. So now I can keep track of how many times a guess was entered. What do I do with this? Well, when I exit my loop, I can say to the player, output expression, and I can use a string, you just won in NB trials, trials guesses. So I'm constructing here a string to output, which is composed of a string, you just won in space, concatenated to the value of NB trials, concatenated to a string that starts with a space and contains guesses. So the end result will be that we'll display a string that says you just won in X guesses. Okay? So let me wrap this up and we're going to test this program. So I click on executing it. Give me a secret number. Secret number is going to be again 90. Enter my loop. Give me a guess. 99. I go back to the console. Guess is too big. Okay. Give me another guess. 89. Code is executing. Go back to the console. Guess is too small. So I used already 2 attempts. Okay. 90 is my third attempt. You just won in 3 guesses. And that's it. This is exactly what we wanted our program to be capable to handle.